Hello, beautiful souls. How are you all doing? Welcome back to my channel, Breathe and Balance. I'm Chathuri Jayasooriya. I'm a psycho-spiritual practitioner based in Sri Lanka. And today, what I'm going to talk about is about my beautiful country and one beautiful experience and a lesson, very important lesson that I learned recently during the devastating floods that my uh, country, my beautiful island nation, is affected by. I'm sure a lot of you would be aware of the current situation in Sri Lanka, right? So I thought this would be an opportune moment for me to share this experience because I think it's pertinent not only to the current situation, but to many situations of natural or man-made disasters and conflicts. And that's a Tikiri, by the way, our sweet little doggy, right? Sri Lanka is an amazing country. It's a beautiful island, as it's known, a paradise nation. It truly is, right? Not that, we as a nation doesn't have its own problems like any other nation in the world, but it's people have an amazing sense of community, and their hearts are filled with, kindness, compassion, and generosity, which are showcased especially during disasters and calamities of this nature. And we see this all the time. And uh, this time also, it's like heart-rendering, of course, the devastation that some communities had to experience. But it was simultaneously really heartening to see how people came together to support one another and those who were affected, right? So I love my country and I'm proud of my people, and especially the common people, the people of our country. Um, and especially how they bond together, and the solidarity and the unity displayed during times like this, right? So, yeah, I mean, we all are doing whatever possible, whether it's material support or spiritual support, healing, whatever prayers, that we can, whatever we can do to support each other to move through this very difficult time uh, that the country is going through, right? So, what I want to share today is this uh, experience that I had, which taught me, or which gave me a felt understanding of what it means to be in the world but not of it. I mean, this is a spiritual teaching that I have learned or had heard of since long, but I couldn't quite understand it or have a like that felt understanding that you get by experiencing it in an experiential sense, right? So what happened during the floods a couple of weeks back, the area in which I stay, like my neighborhood, uh, also got a bit flooded because of the heavy rains and not having proper drainage systems, right? So it was collecting the water. So the roads, the lanes were all flooded, right? But I had to come to Colombo somehow. So I ordered a vehicle, but then the vehicle could not come to my house because of this situation. So I had to wade through, basically walk through the waters to get to the vehicle. And in the morning, like I could see the lanes were flooded, and so I was like, okay, am I in a situation to move or go to Colombo? Um, And I just tuned into my own intuition, and I'm very, very grateful for the connection that I have with spirit and the kind of work that I do. So I checked in with myself, my intuition, my guides, and even my cards, you know, and everything felt okay. Like my family was worried. My sister was constantly, texting me saying, you don't need to come, and, it's flooded everywhere and all these. Um, Warnings issued and all that, especially my area was a kind of a red alert area. But then I felt very calm and grounded, and my inner guidance was, it's okay, it's safe, you can go. So I took a chance and I got dressed up and I waded through the waters very carefully, got into the vehicle and came to Colombo, and there was no issue whatsoever. However, then when I came to Colombo, my sister and my friends, they were all worried, about me returning now. And they were like, okay, you better go back soon, things like that. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I usually return late in the night, but let me go back like towards the evening, right?" Um, so yeah, I was pretty calm, which is like, I think the main point here, and grounded. And I have this now. This is not to be misunderstood in any way, but I don't engage with mass and social media a lot, especially in terms of absorbing the news. That's shared, especially during times like this. I keep away from it. I mean, that's a practice that I have. I don't even watch news, at all, because anyway, whatever the information that I need, I receive anyway, even if I don't watch news or whatever. And the kind of work that I do, it's very important for me to maintain energetic and spiritual hygiene. So I'm very careful about what I consume, through the media or through books or whatever I consume in terms of knowledge and information. Right. So I was not looking at news to see, like, how people are affected or what the flood situation is, because I'm aware that it is causing destruction. People are affected. So that's what I need to know. So I felt that I don't need to keep bombarding myself with, this information, especially being a very highly sensitive person. Right. So then towards the afternoon, like, my good friend, came to me saying, it's like they were all very worried, and she kind of literally dragged me because they were worried about the situation in my place, which is a bit further from Colombo, it being a red alert area as well, right? And they were very worried that it's near the Kalani River, so the Kalani rivers were overflowing and so on. So I was actually not at all worried, because I had this knowing, deep knowing, and that is the intuition. When you are tuned into your intuition, as we say, anxiety screams, intuition whispers, right? And when you keep building the intuitive muscle, you are able to become attuned to that and hear what it's saying with ease, right? And faster. So I knew, okay, I'm going to be safe. The neighborhood is also going to be safe. But, even as we were driving back home, I could feel the fear, in my friend and in my sister. Of course, they were concerned for me, and I totally appreciate it. This is not at all about, uh, that, of course, we are worried for each other. That is to be understood. But what I'm talking about is how they had got, I immediately saw how they had got sucked into the fear factor because of the absorption of the influx of information that was coming in through the mass and social media. Right, from moment to moment, they were giving indicators and alerts and all these visuals. It was really sort of creating this reality around what was happening, which was creating a lot of fear, right? And here, once again, I know this might trigger some of you to hear this perspective, but as I always say, like, take it as another perspective that somebody's sharing through their own experience, and listen to it with an open mind and an open heart. And if it resonates, take it, but otherwise you're free to, have your own opinions as well. But what I noticed was, how this, how everybody was being sucked into a fear-based illusion, a fear-based reality through this information that everybody was being bombarded with. And this happens during every calamity and disaster, not only in Sri Lanka, but the world over, and what happened during the the virus period, right? So I'm not saying that information is not necessary, of course, but the problem here is what kind of information is being shared, how frequently, with what intention, with what agenda. These are the factors that we really need to consider, because what we can see, the general public basically is what we are shown, right? And of course, the information is by and large negative, low vibrational, about death and disaster, devastation, so on. Rather than, I mean, of course, like, this time I'm happy to say that I did see some, videos and even some, news channels talking about very positive things about how people are helping each other and how animals are being rescued, how animals are rescuing other animals, and, very, heartening, you know, uh, stories like that, which gives you peace and, joy and faith and hope. And, it evokes these beautiful, wholesome, expansive energies within us, right? It's expansive. But most of it, like 90% of it at least, as you would agree, I'm sure, induces a lot of fear in people, right? So what this does generally in this situation and globally, in other situations as well, generally, is that there is a situation. Now, this is not to deny or bypass, spiritually bypass or anything like this. Yes, there is a situation on the ground. There are floods, people are being affected. Yes, all that is true, right? But what happens when there is a constant sharing of the same kind of information, visually, auditorily, in whatever way, it feeds a particular energy and it feeds a particular story and narrative around it, which accentuates, exaggerates, aggravates. It enlarges something that needs not be enlarged or exaggerated, right? Of course, I'm not saying people do this consciously. Well, some may not, I leave it, you to discern that. But it has, let's say, become a habit for media channels or people generally to do that, right? I mean, this is still a culture where people take selfies, when a tsunami is coming, or when there's a landslide, or whatever is happening, like people still go over and take selfies, right? So, so whatever, like, so what is happening is that a particular energetic vibration is being created, and it is being strengthened. It's being given power through repetition, right? And unbeknownst to us, or unknowingly, unconsciously, everybody absorbs that energy. The more you look at it, the more you consume this information, the more your mind absorbs it, right? And the more you get sucked into that particular narrative, and the more you are convinced that to be the truth, right? And thereby you are creating a reality for yourself, whereas it may not actually be the truth, right? So you might, of course, argue, okay, but this is happening. Yes, that's once again, I'm saying, yes, it is happening as a reality. But by feeding it, right, you're just perpetuating that reality, right? You are not creating possibility for that reality to shift or transform into one that is more preferable, more wholesome, more healing, right? Where there are solutions, so you get kind of stuck in the problem instead of shifting into possibility or solutions, right? So this is what I'm trying to say. I hope you're following me, right? So the more you talk about it, the more you engage with it, the more you share, and, um, it just, creates more and more fear, and we collectively contribute to the story, and the story becomes the truth, and it is ultimately experienced by a large number of the population, which is not helpful, right? So coming back to how I experienced this personally. So my friend was telling me, oh my God, the indicators say this, like it's going to get flooded in your area. Like, so how are you going to manage? So please try to find some friends with whom you can stay for a few days, so on and so forth. So you can see, right, how the mind starts to work according to the information that you absorb and accept to be the truth. Now, that was her reality. Once again, I'm not like blaming or judging or anything. I'm just showing how two different people engaged with the information and how they created their perspectives, and therefore how they experience their reality. Like, wait till the end of the story because it's really truly fascinating. So she did, constantly try to remind me of this fact, but I held my ground. I was very grounded because I've had many experiences over the last few months, which convinced me of what I'm just sharing with you, that we create our own reality through our own perspectives, which is something that I have been talking about throughout the past several videos that I have been sharing with you. So this is actually one instance where I truly experienced it, right? So, and then I actually very gently told her, look, this is not what I believe in. This is not my belief system. I feel confident that I'll be safe, that everything is going to be okay in my neighborhood, right? Anyway, then we went to closer to my neighborhood to see that a part of that road, the main road, is also kind of flooded a little bit. Although vehicles could go, I could observe, like we had to get out of the cab because the cab was not willing to go, though I knew, it could, but then, it was not willing to. I said, okay, fine, we'll wait for a three-wheeler and cross that bit. We'll find a solution. Once again, I felt very calm and grounded. And I could observe how those who have the courage would, cross that bit, and those who didn't want to take a risk, was taken by fear, would turn around and leave. So I was just observing this. And so we were waiting for a three-wheeler, and then once again, like, see how intuition, and when you're tuned into your intuition and your angels, how you receive support from the universe, right? And after a while, like, I could see this particular three-wheel fellow, like, up until then, I didn't feel like asking anybody either, because I was waiting for my three-wheel. Somehow he couldn't come. And then there was this guy. I went close to him and asked, okay, can you cross this bit, or can you take us to, my place? And he was like, oh, yeah, fortunately, you see, by divine intervention, he turned out to be somebody from the area who knows the by roads and all that. So he took us through a by road to my place, and it was still flooded, right? I told you in the morning I had to wait through. It was still flooded, but he took us right to my gate where I didn't have to get down once again. And I went inside and, everything was perfect. And he actually got my friends back to their place in Colombo as well. And everything went smoothly. And I did my healing, and I was supported by my other healer friends, from other parts of the world as well. I mean, so much gratitude to all of them. And we did healings to ourselves, my neighborhood, the entire country. And throughout this time, trust me, like I had this amazing, like, kind of confidence that within the next 2 days, the entire lane is going to be kind of dried out, that everything is going to be fine. And just as I thought, believed, within the next day itself, the sun was out and the road started getting clear in my neighborhood. And by the following day, it was absolutely dry. Like there was not a sign of any floods whatsoever. Right. And this, to my sister and, her friends, actually a miracle. They actually said, usually, that side gets all flooded and all, but it's by a miracle that it didn't happen this time, right? But of course, I just silently smiled to myself, right? Because that's what the divine has been telling me all along. And the lesson here for me was, and I'm actually pretty proud of myself, I think, because the first time I was able to do that, to really stay grounded and in my center without wobbling, without giving into the fear of other people, listening to the voices, or absorbing the fear of other people, right? Because it was constantly being sort of thrown my way. I could have easily, got absorbed into it or sucked into it had I believed that as a truth, right? But this time, very consciously, through a very conscious process, using the intuitive healing tools that I use, I was able to ground, connect, center, balance, and create a kind of a bubble or a reality, or let's call it as a reality within the larger reality that was being created within the country, right? So, and I therefore experienced a different reality than that was expected by other people, at least for myself, that was my reality, right? So as an individual, I was not affected. Now, this is not to say that, I don't feel or have empathy for those people who got affected, or I keep, praying and sending healing. I do whatever I can as an individual, of course, but this is about how we can actually shift our reality with the power of our minds and through our spiritual capacities. Of course, it takes practice. I didn't come here overnight, and not that I don't wobble a little bit, in other parts of my, life or whatever, that I don't experience it at all. But more and more, I mean, even a couple of days ago, I once again experienced a situation with regards to my health, where there could have been a huge drama, but I grounded myself and I created that reality. I did the healing and all that, and with the support of the divine, it was managed without any issue at all, right? So what I want to share is that we have the power, to create our reality, through our belief systems and perspectives. And I have spoken about it in my other videos. So please feel free to watch them if you would really like to learn how to do that. And of course, if you would like to work with me one-to-one, I would be more than happy to share these techniques with you, through which you can really shift your life and how you experience life, how you navigate life. Your whole reality can shift, very magically. Once again, doesn't mean that you won't ever experience pain or whatever. It's just that your relationship with pain and your relationship with life and connections, everything is going to shift when you shift within. It's always about shifting within, right? So I'm very thankful for this experience. And as I mentioned at the beginning, so this is my first experience, like very concrete, felt, lived experience of what it means to live in the world, but not of it. So I was living in this reality with the floods and being affected by it, and all of that, but without really getting absorbed into the stories that were created or the illusions that were created around that particular reality, without giving into the exaggeration and, making it my experience, So I do hope you'll be able to kind of understand what I was trying to communicate here. And the more we learn to be in the world, still continue the interactions and, engage with our worlds, our own worlds, without getting really absorbed into it, without becoming it, without making it my own reality. If it's not a preferable reality for myself, I can always choose a different reality, So it's kind of creating your own reality within that broader reality. And that is, my friends, very possible. So I do hope you would experience the magic of, being in the world, but not of it, how to create, the magic of creating your own reality. And as I mentioned, do get in touch if you would like to work with me to create these experiences. And please like and subscribe and share these videos if you feel that it helped you and it might help your dear ones and your friends. And I will catch up again next week with another video. Until then, do take care and do explore the possibility of creating your own realities. Okay, then take care and bye for now.